I need help. I do not feel safe. I live in fear of these people. They have been terrorizing me for 8 years. I have a reason to fear them. When they are here, I am afraid to go outside. I'm afraid to live in my apartment. I'm afraid to leave my apartment. These people have threatened me. They've abused me. They've come to my door to harass me. God damn it. I need help, people. They just did it again. They just dumped water. Right onto my porch. This is like the fourth time. Come on, pour it out again. There we go. Guess who that is? They're making racket again. It's been almost 2.5 hours now. You hear those bangs? That's them. Along with the music. They bang things around, they stomp around, they yell, they scream, they play, they blast their damn music. It's still Thursday, February 8th. I sent you an email yesterday to prevent this from happening. Why is it happening? By the way, this is not abnormal. This is common. Every time this neighbor, her name is Dejane, comes over to this apartment, she does not live here. Well, if she does, there's another person who lives here when she's not here. She was kicked out 2.5 years ago. And she returned about a year ago, about 10 months ago. And my apartment management has allowed her to return. This is something that she does every time she shows up. This does not happen unless Dejane is here. The people who lived here after she was kicked out, they didn't make this noise. And by the way, I use the word kicked out loosely, because I do not know the exact reason why she moved out. All I know is that they were going to make her move to another apartment. Management, me, and her all agreed to that. And about 2 months later, they reneged on that agreement without my consent. It was a three-way agreement, and they just revoked it without consulting me whatsoever. And about 2 months later, she moved out. So you can, I don't know why you call that, but I call that being kicked out. She was forced out of here for harassing me and terrorizing me for 6 years. Then she was gone for like 1.5 years. She returned one day during that 1.5 years and just caused all kinds of hell. So she was gone for 1.5 years. She only showed up once during that 1.5 years, and that was after about 1 year. And what did she do when she came here? She blasted her music the whole time she was here. 6 hours. And I complained, which is something I never do. I complained to her by making noise down here, saying, "You're making too much noise." She heard it and ignored it, and the next day she attacked me in the parking lot. This is the next day she attacked me in the parking lot for making noise. She threatened me. She threatened me physical harm. She threatened my car. She threatened to damage my car. She threatened to break into my apartment and damage this. And then on top of that, she called up the cops and filed a false police report against me. And if I did not have my camera in my hand during the incident that she caused, I would probably be in jail. And this is the person that management has allowed back into my life. She controls my life. And then she was gone for another 6 months. And then she returned. And I pleaded and begged with the apartment management, do not let her back in here. She's going to start terrorizing me all over again. And that's exactly what's happened. She is as bad now as she was any time during that previous 6 years. She just does whatever she wants. And management lets her get away with it. Not only does she do whatever she wants, she does it to my detriment. She's making my life miserable. And management just lets her do it. Why they let her move back in? There's no excuse for it. I need help to stop this. When I call up the cops, they won't even show up. I've only called them 4 or 5 times in the last 8 years. 2 times come to mind. The first time, I don't call 911. I think they would probably arrest me for that because this is not a life-threatening situation, even though at this point in time it is. They're driving me insane. They're giving me a nervous breakdown. I don't know what I'm going to do. My life is now at stake. But anyway, so I just call the local number, the direct number to the police department. It's a sheriff's department. The first time I called them, I waited an hour and a half. Again, these are just coming from my memory. I don't know the exact times and stuff. But I waited about an hour and a half and I got a call from the cop, from the deputy. He was in a town next over from mine. I live in a real small town, Mojave, California. And they live he was in a town about 25, 35 miles away. And he called me up and he says, "Do I have to come out there? I don't want to come out there for a disturbing the peace call." That was actually his attitude. That was basically what he said. I don't know if it's word for word. He says, "I don't want to come all the way out there for that." So from that point on, I knew even if he did come out, he wouldn't do anything because he was already holding animosity towards me just for asking him. Anyway, he never did show up. And then I called 3 or 4 other times, and one of those times I called up, I talked to the dispatch lady, not 911. That's my neighbors. And I said, "Have the officer come to my apartment. I want him to hear this from inside my apartment. I want to talk to him." Again, over this time, oh my God. This is so ridiculous. Even being sick, I can laugh at it. But it's so insane, it's making me sicker. About 2 or 3 hours passed and he never showed up. And they were still making racket upstairs. So I called the dispatch person back and I said, "Where is he? Where's the police officer I asked to come to my apartment?" And she said, "Well, he did a drive-by." "A drive-by? What are you talking about, a drive-by? I asked him to come to my apartment." And she says, "Well, he did a drive-by and didn't hear anything, so he left." And I said, "Bring him back. I want him to come to my apartment, and they refused to bring him back. That's what you get. That's what's called policing in this area of Kern County, California. This is not just a disturbing the peace call. This is a criminal harassment call. When it goes on day after day, year after year, that's harassment. And the cops need to come and make them stop. They won't show up. God damn it, I'm so sick. Saturday, January 27th. It was a slow process. But now they're here every goddamn day. Every damned day. For a while there, it was just the weekends. And before that, they would come and they would, sometimes it would be a weekend, sometimes it'd be in the middle of the week. There would be a 3, 4, maybe even a week gap. It was a slow, and every time they came, they made racket. They barbecued on their balcony. They threw parties out in front of my apartment. They played loud music. They banged around just like this. Every time they showed up. And now they're here every goddamn day. What the hell is going on? And I've been complaining about it for 2 months. I've been complaining about it for 8 years. But I've been complaining about it to the owner for at least maybe 2.5 months. I think back before Thanksgiving is when I first complained to him. And there's a perfect example. I complained to him. They never came back. They went away for like a week or 2 or whatever it was. And then they came back and started staying here every weekend. And now they're here every damned day. And I've been begging, I've been pleading, don't let this happen. These people have been terrorizing me. God damn it. They've threatened me. They falsely accused me of stuff I never did. They filed a false police report against me. And I can't even get the goddamn cops to show up. Pretty much as soon as I started recording, they stopped their music and started doing this shit. They purposely violate the lease when they make racket all day long. There's no telling what kind of racket they'll make. It might be a dog barking, it might be them yelling and screaming, it might be their music blasting, it might be them running up and down the stairs, slamming their doors, stomping around. It could be all of them all at once. It could start at any time as long as Dejane or her husband is up there. Like I said, when Dejane and her family is not up there, they don't make racket. There is no problem. They need to be banned from the premises. What the hell are they doing up there? They shouldn't even be on the property. They've been breaking the lease for 8 years. It doesn't matter if they're living up there or if they're visiting. I have no idea who the legal tenant is up there. 15 different people come in and out of that apartment all day long. And on top of all of that, there's the threats and the flipping me off. When they are here, I am afraid to go outside. I'm afraid to live in my apartment. I'm afraid to leave my apartment. These people have threatened me. They've abused me. They've come to my door to harass me. And they're still here? Making my life miserable. They're still here. Why? 224, the dog stopped barking. It was time to start blasting the music. This will go on all night. This only happens when DeJohnny is here. God damn it, I'm sick of this shit. That's 224. And this is what it sounds like inside my apartment. And the racket's been going on since noon. Seven hours and 45 minutes now. I told you it would just get louder. DeJohnny comes home and they just go berserk. When are they going to be evicted? Well, you don't even actually have to evict them. All you have to do is not continue their lease. It's a month-to-month lease. Just cancel the damn lease already. Get them the hell out of here. And I'm also physically sick This is making me ill. This is making me more sick than I already am. The stress is unbelievable. They've been doing this for 8 goddamn years. That's 224. Partying. Saturday, January 27th. God. And they know this is a violation of the lease. They know it. And they don't give a damn because no one stops them. And I'm supposed to put up with this bullshit, huh? I'm supposed to put up with you not enforcing the lease. All you have to do is not renew their monthly lease. And the torture I've been suffering will end. And they also know this is doing me harm. And so does management. It's 5 o'clock. February 8th on Thursday. That's my neighbors up in 224. That's 224. Thursday, February 8th, 2024. It's 3:30, Saturday, February 10th. And now they're back to their crazy noise. They don't have to play music in order to make racket. But they are playing music. I don't know if you can hear it. They'll do this all day long, off and on. It isn't over. I have complained and complained. And that banging right there, sometimes it's even louder than that, and it'll go on all day, off and on all day sometimes. And it sometimes even gets louder than that. This is the kind of people I've been forced to live under for the last 8 years. Well, it's not over, I'll guarantee you. "7:40 p.m. February 10th. They've been making racket since 1 p.m. It doesn't end. They keep doing it. As long as they are here, they will keep doing it. They will not stop until you make them leave. And stop harassing me. You're the only ones who can enforce the lease. It's 7:45 p.m. Going on now almost 7 hours. The torture continues, the harassment continues, the lease breaking continues, and they continue to live up there, or they're visiting. They're actually visiting. They don't even live there. This is caused by Dejane and her boyfriend. When they aren't here, that racket does not happen. Is this really the kind of tenant that you want on your property? Harassing other tenants? It's Wednesday, February 14th. $2024. None of this noise happens when Dejane and her boyfriend aren't here. That's intentional. There's absolutely no reason or excuse for that noise to be going on. There's no natural reason. Listen to that. And it hasn't stopped. It will continue because the lease is not being enforced. I have to suffer with this crap day in and day out. It's 3 p.m. February 11th, 2024. And 224 is still at it. That's 224's noise. Sunday, February 11th. $2024. 224's been making racket for 10 hours now. They've been abusing me and harassing me now for 8 years and 10 hours. It's 8:37. Two-two-four's been making racket for 10 hours and 37 minutes. They do whatever the hell they want to do. They don't have to follow rules. They don't have to follow the lease. Meanwhile, I follow the lease. I follow the rules. I respect my neighbors. and I get punished for it. It's 10 a.m. 224 is already at it. Sunday, February 11th. It's 11:11 a.m. has been making racket since 10 a.m. is doing their banging again, just like I said in an earlier video. They do this all the time. If this racket was isolated and happened only occasionally, I wouldn't complain about it. But it happens every day. Every day they're here. They do this. Every time every time she is here, they make that racket. Every day she's here. All day long. If it's not this, it's music. Sometimes it's both. It's stomping around and banging around. It just goes on and on and on. Sometimes it'll go on solid for hours. Sometimes it goes on off and on all day long. It's 10 p.m. on Thursday, February 15th. (2024). My neighbors living above me in 224 are still at it. Thursday, February 15th, 2024. And that's my wonderful neighbors upstairs breaking the lease. Now for 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours and 8 years. They just did that knocking noise again. It's 8:45 a.m. They've been making that knocking noise now for 5 minutes. It's banging is what it is. And I've been complaining about it now for over 2 months to the property owner. And they're still there. I am very, very sick. I can barely function. And I have to put up with this every day on top of my illness. As long as Dejanay and her boyfriend are allowed to come here and make my life miserable, that's what they will do. They've been doing it for 8 years. And it stopped. 2 years ago, I was free of this insanity. I was free of this torture. And about a year ago, they were allowed to come back. They will not stop. How many times have I got to tell you this? I send you evidence of their lease breaking. They won't stop. So I have to stop eating to record that crap. That's been going on for 45 minutes now. Is the horror ever going to stop? Is the torture ever going to stop? Is Park Palace Apartments and their owner ever going to enforce the goddamn lease? This is goddamn hell. That's how I know they're home. Or that's how I know they're up there. That's not their home. They moved out 2 years ago. They were forced out for harassing me for 6 years. My God, I wish I wasn't this sick, because I would be raising hell. That these assholes were allowed to move back in to torment me. And as far as management goes, not only can I not get them to do anything, they allowed it to happen. I warned them. We need to stop Dejane from moving back in here. She's been terrorizing me. That's all she does, is make my life miserable. I have warned them for ever since she came back, or started coming back, almost 8 or 9 or 10 months ago. When she first showed up, after over a year, probably a year and a half, first thing I did was email the apartment managers and said, what is she doing here? She hadn't been here for a year and a half. She was here once in that year and a half. And that was when she threatened me in the damn parking lot, because I had the nerve to complain about her racket. That was also the day that she filed a false police report against me. If I didn't have it on film, I'd probably be in jail right now. That's the idiots you have allowed back into my life against my consent, against my will. That is absolutely nothing but malice. That is malice. There was no other reason to do that except to do me harm. And I have notified them also all this time of how sick I've been getting. How sick I am. And they still allowed this to happen. Thursday, February 15th. Now they decided to start playing loud music. Why? Because they can. This is how they live. And I have provided video evidence of this insanity to my management, my apartment management, for 8 years. This woman was forced out because she wouldn't stop harassing me. She was forced out after 6, these are approximate dates, by the way, but she was forced out after 6 years of harassment. She left. My God, everything was so much better. I thought I'd been reborn. The racket stopped. My neighbors were, for the most part, fine people when she left. Now she's been allowed back. And she's starting her terrorizing of me again. And I have warned the apartment management at Park Palace Apartments in Mojave, California. I've been notifying, they're the same ones who forced her out. For a year and a half. And since she's returned, I have notified them again to not let this happen again. Do not let her back in here. And not only has she returned, she's brought her husband with her boy. I don't know if she's married to this guy or not, but it's her husband or her boyfriend has joined her. And as they returned, it was a very slow process. She would show up maybe 1 or 2 days in a row, and then she'd leave for a week. And every time she showed up, she'd make racket. Every time. But it did get worse. It didn't start out real bad when she first started coming back. But I still complained about her coming back because I knew this would happen. And sure enough, over a period of 9 or 10 months, and it's actually been beginning over 3 months ago, maybe even back farther than that, it has gotten as worse as it ever was before she was thrown out. And the apartment managers, the owner of the complex, I have warned them, I have begged them, I have pleaded with them, I have explained to them how much harm this is doing me. Says this is giving me a goddamn nervous breakdown. I'm very ill on top of all this shit. I don't need this crap from my neighbors to make my life worse. And I actually told them that in emails. Because I'm too sick to even call them up to complain anymore. I used to call them up to complain and to send emails. And it took me 6 years to get them to do something then. But in the last year, my disabilities have gotten much worse. I can't get Medicare or Medi-Cal to give me emergency treatment. I need emergency medical care right now, both physically and mentally now. I'm having a nervous breakdown. I can't stand this being terrorized anymore. And this is the same woman who threatened me. Her name is Dejane, and she threatened me out in my parking lot because I complained to her about the noise she was making. And she threatened to damage my car, and she threatened to break into my apartment and mess up my apartment. I don't want to use the language she used, but she used the F word in all of those threats. On top of that, they have barbecued on top of their balcony. On top of that, they do water dumps. I have it on camera. water dumps of them dumping water from their balcony onto my patio. Plus, I have years and years of video of this shit going on right now. I call up the cops, they won't show up. But she calls the cops on me and they're right here. And if I did not have video of her false accusation, I'd probably be in jail right now. She's just lies. She's a liar and a horrible neighbor. And I have 8 years of video to prove it. I need help. And I've even tried to get in touch with lawyers. Lawyers do not want to represent people. They sit there and find excuses not to represent you, especially when you're poor. I'm too sick to call the owner too. I'm too sick to call apartment managers. I'm completely isolated. I have no family, no friends. The government won't help me. Listen to that. God damn it. I need help, people. My neighbor's living up above me. Her name is Dejanay, and plus whoever is legally living up there have been breaking the lease for 10 months now. I have notified the apartment management of this, and they do nothing. According to the lease, I have the right, all tenants have the right to enjoy the peaceful environment of their apartment. I believe that's the wording. The peaceful enjoyment. And then it goes on to talk about excessive noise. And then it says that repeated violations of the lease is legitimate cause for termination of the lease. On top of that, the managers over the years have handed out flyer after flyer talking about loud noise or excessive noise. They would say in these flyers that if your neighbor can hear it, then it's too loud. That's the kind of crap I'm talking about. And it goes on all day whenever Dejanay is here. Whenever she leaves, the person living up there, they don't make this racket. No one makes this racket except her. The people who lived here for a year and a half while she was banned, kicked out. They didn't make this racket. When this person started violating the lease, it took me 6 years to get management to get rid of her, to get her out of here, or at least to move her to another apartment, which I did not think was a good idea, because then she would just be doing the same thing to another neighbor. But if that's what management wanted to do, I was willing to do it. Get her away from me. And they kicked her out. She left. Now, like I said, she stayed here for 6 years while I complained about her. Making racket, breaking the lease that entire time. And I'm talking about hours a day. The longest she's been on is an 18-hour marathon, which she has done just in the last maybe 4 or 5 months. I can't remember the exact date. But she's done 12-hour marathons 3 times. Her normal length of time is anytime between 5 to 10 hours. And they are not isolated incidents. She'll do this 5 or 6 days out of the week. And she did that for 6 years. That was when she was the legal resident, the legal tenant up there. And they kicked her out. After me providing evidence after evidence after evidence of her lease breaking, it took me 6 years to get them to enforce the lease. That's all I was asking them to do. Enforce the lease. She is a chronic, habitual lease breaker. And she breaks the lease to my detriment. This would drive anyone insane. Took me 6 years. And again, these lengths of time are all approximate, and but they're roughly right. And she was gone, and they let her back in. They let this asshole back in. I need help. I'm too sick to move. And moving is almost an impossibility. For one thing, because I'm too sick. The rent, you have to have 3 times the rent in income, which means I would only qualify for $400 a month. And those apartments don't exist. And affordable housing units are all booked for years. I am trapped. I do not feel safe. I live in fear of these people. They have been terrorizing me for 8 years. I have a reason to fear them. I need help. So it's not just music. It's screaming, it's singing, it's banging around, it's stomping around, it's music, it's threats. She's the only one who does this. Why is she being allowed to torture me? This is what I don't understand. This is what I don't understand. Why does management allow her to do this to me? That's malice. They're allowing her to do it to me on purpose for some odd reason. And they know I'm sick. God damn, goes on all day long.